The giant alien ship appeared without warning on a quiet Tuesday morning. It hung in Earth's orbit like a dark cloud, blocking the sun in some parts of the world. The ship was bigger than anything humans had ever built, covered with strange glowing symbols. On board the human space vessel Orion, the crew stared at their screens in shock. This was mankind's first contact with aliens, and no one was ready for it. Captain Olivia Martinez took a deep breath. She had trained for many things in her 15 years with the global space fleet, but not for this. Her dark hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and her uniform was spotless. Her crew looked to her for strength, and she would not show fear. "Status. Report," she said, her voice calm despite her racing heart. "The alien vessel is about 20 times our size," said Scott Turner, the science officer. His fingers moved quickly over his screen. "Their technology is far beyond ours. They could destroy us with one shot if they wanted to." "They're scanning us," added Ryan Boyd from his station. Ryan was young, just 25, but he was the best sensor operator in the fleet. "They're scanning everything. Our ship, Earth, our satellites. Their scans are going right through our shields like they aren't even there." Lieutenant Amber Kelly, the weapons officer, spoke up. "Weapons are ready, Captain, but I doubt they would do much good against that thing." Captain Martinez nodded. Fighting was not an option. "Keep weapons offline. We don't want to appear hostile." "Captain, they're sending us a message," said Communications Officer Daniel Wright. His hands moved across his control panel. "It's coming through on all frequencies in every language on Earth." "Put it on screen," Olivia ordered. The main screen lit up. The alien that appeared had blue metallic skin that seemed to shift and move like water. It had 3 large eyes that blinked at different times and no visible mouth. When it spoke, the words came through the computer's translation system. "People of Earth," the alien said. "I am Ambassador Zakatal of the Viridian, Concordat, the ruling power of this sector of the galaxy. Our scans show that your species has just begun to explore space. According to our laws, we must now test your species to see where you belong in our system." The bridge was silent. Lieutenant Jason Bell, standing at the tactical station, whispered to Captain Martinez. "I don't like how this sounds," the alien continued. "We have studied your bodies and find them weak. You lack strength, speed, and good senses compared to other species we know. You seem to be prey animals who somehow developed tools." Captain Martinez stepped forward. "Ambassador, I am Captain Olivia Martinez of Earth's global space fleet. Humans may not look strong to you, but we have survived on a harsh world for thousands of years. We have overcome many challenges." The alien made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Your confidence is noted, Captain, but facts are facts. Your bones break easily. Your skin tears. You die from small changes in temperature or pressure. You are fragile creatures." The crew of the Orion looked at each other. The alien wasn't wrong about human biology, but there was more to humanity than physical strength. "However," the ambassador continued, "the Concordat is fair. We will give you a chance to prove your worth. Starting tomorrow, we will hold a series of tests. These tests will show what your species can do. Your place in our system will depend on how well you do." "What kind of tests?" Captain Martinez asked. "Tests of strength, speed, endurance, thinking, and problem-solving. We will select various environments and challenges. Your best people will compete against representatives from our world." Captain Martinez stood tall. "And if we refuse?" All 3 of the alien's eyes focused on her. "That is not advised. Refusing the tests would mark your species as uncooperative. The Concordat does not allow uncooperative species to develop space travel. For your planet's safety, I suggest you participate willingly." The threat was clear. Compete or be destroyed. "We will need time to select our representatives," Martinez said. "You have 1 Earth day," the ambassador replied. The screen went dark. The bridge erupted in voices. Everyone was talking at once, some angry, some afraid. Captain Martinez raised her hand for silence. "Daniel, get me Earth Command on a secure channel," she ordered. "Everyone else, I need options. This isn't a fight we can win with weapons." Within minutes, Admiral Gregory Peters appeared on the main screen. His gray hair and lined face showed the stress he was under. Behind him, people rushed back and forth in the Earth Command Center. "Captain Martinez, I assume you've received the same message we have," he said. "Yes, Admiral. The aliens are demanding we participate in their tests. They've given us 1 day to prepare." The Admiral rubbed his forehead. "They've made the same announcement to every government on Earth. The United Nations Security Council is meeting now. We're choosing people from different backgrounds, military, sports, science, anyone who might help us pass these tests. Sir, these aliens are judging us only on physical strength," Captain Martinez said. "They don't understand what really makes humans dangerous." Something like a smile crossed Admiral Peters's tired face. "Then I guess we'll have to educate them." All around the world, the news of alien contact spread. Fear gave way to determination, as humanity realized what was at stake. In gyms and labs, in military bases and universities, people prepared for the greatest challenge in human history. The aliens had come to test humanity. They thought they were testing prey animals. They would soon learn they were dealing with the most dangerous predators in the galaxy, humans who had their backs against the wall. Captain Martinez looked out at the stars from the bridge of the Orion. Tomorrow the future of Earth would be decided, and she planned to show these aliens exactly what humans were capable of when everything they loved was threatened. "They think we're weak," she said softly. "They're about to learn how wrong they are." The aliens built their testing grounds in the empty lands of Australia. Overnight, huge domes appeared across the red desert. Each dome held a different world inside: thick jungles, freezing ice lands, rocky mountains, and deep water areas. TV stations from all countries showed the tests live. Everyone on Earth watched and waited. The first test was about strength. The aliens had chosen a dome filled with rocks and heavy metal blocks. The rules were simple: move the heavy objects to marked areas faster than the other team. Navy SEAL Frank Rodriguez stood at the entrance of the dome. He had fought in 3 wars and was known for his calm under pressure. Next to him were 5 other humans: Samantha Ortiz, an Olympic weightlifting champion; Ben Harper, a construction worker who could lift twice his body weight; Keiko Tanaka, a firefighter known for her rescue skills; Luis Gomez, a mountain climber; and Diane Foster, a former college athlete. When the doors opened, they saw their opponents for the first time. 6 aliens stood on the other side of the dome. They were huge, nearly 8 feet tall with 4 arms, each thicker than a human leg. Their skin looked like blue metal, and they had 3 eyes that moved independently. "They're at least 3 times stronger than us," Samantha whispered, her eyes wide. "But look at how they move. So stiff and straight. It's all power, no flexibility." Frank nodded. "They're strong but predictable. We need to use our brains, not just our muscles. Teamwork and smart techniques will be our advantage." A loud horn sounded and the test began. The aliens moved quickly to the largest blocks, lifting them with ease. One alien picked up a block that would have needed 4 humans to move. They were clearly winning. Frank's team tried to lift a medium-sized block but struggled. The aliens watched and made sounds that might have been laughter. "Change of plan," Frank said. "Diane, Luis, find round rocks to use as rollers. Ben, Samantha, help me tip this block onto its side." While the aliens continued to carry their blocks one by one, the humans worked together. They placed round stones under their block and created a simple roller system. Then they used long metal poles as levers to move heavier objects. By the halfway point of the test, the aliens were slowing down. Their movements became less smooth as they grew tired. Meanwhile, the humans had found their rhythm. They weren't lifting the blocks. They were rolling them, sliding them, or using simple machines they built on the spot. "They don't understand what we're doing," Keiko said as they used a makeshift pulley system to move a block that weighed a ton. "They keep trying to lift everything directly." The aliens stopped to watch when the humans created a ramp from smaller rocks to roll a huge block up to a high platform. Their 3 eyes blinked in confusion. This wasn't how the test was supposed to work. When the final horn sounded, the humans had moved more weight than the aliens. It wasn't because they were stronger, It was because they had worked smarter. Ambassador Zektal's voice came through speakers. Unexpected results. We will proceed to the endurance test. The second dome contained a running track that twisted through different environments: hot desert, humid jungle, and rocky hills. Marathon runner Michelle Johnson and ultramarathon champion Doug Harrison represented the humans. Michelle had run over 50 marathons in her career. Doug was famous for running hundreds of miles across deserts. Their alien opponents had long, powerful legs and breathing systems with 3 lungs. They looked built for speed and distance. These races normally last 6 hours, Michelle said as they prepared. But I'm guessing the aliens will make it much harder, Doug nodded. We don't need to be faster, we just need to last longer. When the race began, the aliens took off at an incredible pace. They were soon far ahead of the humans. But Michelle and Doug didn't try to keep up. They settled into a steady, sustainable pace. What are the humans doing? Asked a TV commentator. They're falling behind. Dr. Kimberly Wood, a human evolution expert, explained to the global audience. They're being smart. Humans aren't the fastest animals on Earth, but we can run longer than almost any creature. We cool ourselves by sweating, which is rare among species, and our 2-legged running style saves energy over long distances. 6 hours into the race, the aliens still led, but they were slowing down. Their metallic skin couldn't release heat well, and they were overheating in the artificial jungle section. 12 hours in, the first alien collapsed from exhaustion. Its body simply shut down, unable to continue. The human runners kept their steady pace, drinking water and eating small energy bars as they ran. 18 hours into the race, all the aliens had stopped. Some lay on the ground, unable to move. Others stood bent over, their breathing heavy and labored. Meanwhile, Michelle and Doug continued running. They were tired and sore, but still moving forward. This is what humans evolved to do, Dr. Wood told the audience. Our ancestors would chase animals until they collapsed from exhaustion. It's called persistence hunting, and it's how we survived before we had weapons. When Michelle and Doug finally crossed the finish line after 20 hours of continuous running, no alien was even on the track anymore. The final physical test was about reactions and coordination. Fighter pilot Alan Phillips and professional gamer Nancy Chen entered a dome filled with moving obstacles and targets. The aliens had faster natural reflexes, but the humans showed something the aliens didn't expect: adaptation. When the targets and obstacles changed patterns, the aliens kept using the same approaches. But Alan and Nancy quickly learned the new patterns and adjusted their strategy. They made mistakes but learned from them immediately. Humans don't just react, Nancy explained after they completed the test ahead of the aliens. We predict, we learn, we adjust. That's more valuable than just being fast. After 3 days of physical challenges, the alien officials looked worried. Their species had evolved as ambush predators, using overwhelming strength and speed to win. Humans, with their history as persistence hunters who used tools and teamwork, showed abilities that confused the aliens' understanding of what made a species powerful. Ambassador Zekatal's voice sounded less confident when he announced, "The physical trials have concluded with unexpected results. We will now proceed to test your mental capabilities. Surely in this area your species' limitations will become clear." The humans exchanged smiles. If the aliens were surprised by human bodies, they had no idea what human minds could do. The physical tests were over. Humans had surprised the aliens with their endurance, teamwork, and adaptability. But now, a new set of challenges began. These would test the human mind, not the human body. Ambassador Zekatal spoke to the crowd gathered outside the testing domes. His blue metallic skin reflected the morning sunlight as his 3 eyes moved over the human audience. Your physical abilities were unexpected, the ambassador admitted, his voice coming through translation devices. But true membership in our galactic community requires more than physical strength. You must prove your minds are worthy. The ambassador turned to look at the huge screen where billions of humans around the world watched. Your brains are smaller than ours. Your neural pathways are simpler. By all measures we understand, you should be primitive thinkers. Now we will see if that is true. The first mental challenge was set in a new dome that had appeared overnight. Inside was a strange room filled with floating, glowing shapes of many colors. Dr. Eric Hudson, a physicist from California, and Lisa Barnes, a chess champion, entered the room together. They were met by two Viridians who stood waiting. The aliens wore special suits that glowed with the same colors as the floating shapes. "This is a multi-dimensional puzzle," one alien explained. "You must arrange the pattern elements to unlock the next level. There are 12 levels to complete." Eric studied the floating shapes. They moved in ways that seemed impossible, sometimes disappearing and reappearing elsewhere. "These aren't just moving in 3 dimensions," he whispered to Lisa. "They're moving in at least 5 dimensions. I've only seen this in theoretical math." Lisa nodded. "Let's watch the aliens first, see how they approach it." The Viridians began solving the puzzle with careful, logical steps. They worked methodically, following what seemed to be standard rules and procedures. They completed the first level in about 20 minutes. When it was the humans' turn, Eric and Lisa tried a different approach. "I don't think we can solve this the same way they did," Eric said. "Let's try something they wouldn't expect." Instead of moving the shapes one by one in a logical order, Lisa began to arrange them based on patterns she recognized from chess strategies. Eric used theories from quantum physics that described multidimensional space. "What are they doing?" one alien asked the other. "That's not the correct method." But to everyone's surprise, the human approach worked. The shapes clicked into place and the first level was completed in just 15 minutes. "They use intuition," one alien said to the other. "They make mental jumps without seeing all the steps." Level after level, the humans continued to find creative solutions. Sometimes they got stuck, but then one of them would suggest a completely new approach that the aliens would never have considered. "They don't think linearly," Lisa explained to the cameras recording their progress. "We use intuition and creative leaps. Sometimes we feel the answer before we can explain it." By the final level, the aliens were watching with all 3 eyes, wide open as the humans completed the puzzle in half the time it took the Viridians. The next challenge tested strategy and adaptation. Retired General Patricia Wilson entered a dome designed like a war room. On a large table was a map showing territories, resources, and moving pieces that represented armies. Her Viridian opponent was a high-ranking military commander who had won many battles for the Concordat. The rules were explained. Each competitor would take turns moving their forces, with the goal of capturing territory and resources. The Viridian commander began with perfect textbook moves. His strategy was flawless according to standard military doctrine. Patricia studied his moves carefully. In IOENDR, her first few turns, Patricia made moves that confused the alien. She sometimes retreated when she should advance or left valuable resources unprotected as a trap. "Your strategy is flawed," the Viridian told her after the 10th move. "You are making errors that will lead to your defeat." Patricia smiled. "There's an old human saying, sometimes you need to lose a battle to win the war." As the game continued, the Viridian stuck to his perfect, logical strategy. But Patricia kept changing her approach, never using the same pattern twice. She introduced what military experts called controlled chaos, moves that seemed random but were actually part of a larger plan. By the 30th move, the alien was visibly frustrated. His 3 eyes blinked rapidly as he tried to predict what Patricia would do next. "You do not follow proper strategic doctrine," he complained. "That's our advantage," Patricia replied. "Humans learned warfare from thousands of years of fighting each other. We know that being unpredictable is sometimes more important than being perfect." In the end, Patricia's constantly changing approach confused the alien so much that he made a critical error. She won the match, leaving the Viridian commander staring at the board in disbelief. The final mental challenge focused on communication and language. Dr. Howard Martinez, a linguist who spoke 12 Earth languages, entered a dome where he found a Viridian waiting with a strange device. "This is a communication test," the alien explained. "We will present you with an unknown alien language. You must learn it and then use it to solve problems." The device projected symbols and sounds that Howard had never seen or heard before. The Viridian began working immediately, using systematic analysis to decode the language. Howard took a different approach. He looked for patterns that reminded him of human languages. He tested theories quickly, making mistakes but learning from each one. He drew connections between sounds and symbols that the alien missed because they didn't follow logical rules. Human languages are full of exceptions and irregular patterns, Howard explained to the audience watching. We're used to languages that evolve naturally, with all their messiness and contradictions. That gives us an advantage in understanding new communication systems. After 2 hours, Howard had deciphered enough of the language to begin solving the problems it presented. The Viridian was still working through its methodical analysis, only halfway done. Impossible, the alien said when Howard completed the final translation task. Your species' brain structure should not allow for this kind of intuitive language acquisition. Howard smiled. Human children learn languages before they can even understand rules. We absorb languages by using them, not by analyzing them. At the end of the 3 days of mental challenges, the Viridian scientists were clearly shaken. They huddled together, talking quickly in their own language as they reviewed the test results. One Viridian researcher approached Howard. Your biology suggested you would be primitive thinkers, the alien admitted. But your problem-solving approaches, your creativity, and your adaptability are disturbing to us. Why disturbing? Howard asked. Because, the alien said quietly, you think in ways we cannot predict, and in the galaxy, unpredictable species are the most dangerous ones. As the mental challenges concluded, Ambassador Zikatal announced that the final evaluation of humanity would take place the following day. The fate of Earth hung in the balance, but for the first time, humans felt confident. They had shown the aliens something they never expected, minds that could outthink even technologically superior beings. The true strengths of Earth's apex predators were becoming clear, and the aliens were growing afraid. On the morning of the final day, Ambassador Zekatal requested a private meeting with Earth's leaders. The meeting would take place aboard the massive alien ship that still hung in orbit above Earth. Admiral Gregory Peters, Captain Olivia Martinez, and United Nations Secretary-General Julia Foster were chosen to represent humanity. They stood in the shuttle bay of the Orion, preparing to board a small craft that would take them to the alien vessel. What do you think they want? Julia asked, adjusting her formal blue suit. She had been a diplomat for 20 years, but nothing had prepared her for negotiating with aliens. Admiral Peters shook his head. I don't know, but they don't look happy about how the tests went. Captain Martinez checked her uniform one last time. They came expecting to find weak animals. Instead, they found something they don't understand. The shuttle ride was short. When they arrived at the alien ship, they were led down long hallways made of a strange blue-green metal. The walls seemed to glow with soft light, and the air smelled like cinnamon and metal. They entered a large round room where Ambassador Zakatal waited with 5 other Viridians. The ceiling of the room showed the stars and Earth below them, like a perfect window to space. Thank you for coming, the ambassador began. For the first time, his voice sounded less confident. We have much to discuss about your species and its future in the galactic community. Admiral Peters stood tall. We're listening. The ambassador's 3 eyes blinked in sequence before he spoke. We have miscalculated badly. He paused. Our species evolved as the top predators of our world. We naturally assumed that biological strength meant superiority everywhere. Julia leaned forward. And now? Now we understand that Earth is what our scientists would call a death world, a planet with extremely hard conditions that force life to become incredibly tough or die. The ambassador touched a control panel, and a hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed Earth's history, ice ages, meteor strikes, massive volcanoes, rapid climate changes, and constant competition between species. Your planet has survived events that would have killed all life on most worlds, the ambassador explained. 5 major extinction events, each one wiping out most species. Yet life on Earth not only survived, but grew stronger and more complex. The hologram showed early humans hunting mammoths, surviving ice ages, creating fire, building shelters, and eventually creating modern civilization. Humans in particular have faced challenges that should have been impossible to overcome, continued the ambassador. You have no natural weapons, no claws, no poison, no armor. Your bodies are fragile, yet you became the dominant species on a world filled with much stronger animals. Admiral Peters nodded. We're not just predators, Ambassador. We're survivors. Yes, agreed Zuckatal. And that is far more dangerous than we realized. Captain Martinez watched the hologram as it showed human history. What does this mean for Earth's place in your concordate? The ambassador made a gesture with his forearms. We have created a new classification for species from high-pressure evolutionary environments. Earth will be granted full membership, rights in the concordate, with seats on our scientific and strategic councils. The humans exchanged surprised looks. This was better than they had hoped for. There's more, added the ambassador. We wish to learn from humans. Your adaptability, problem-solving, and persistence are qualities our species lacks. We evolved as ambush predators who relied on overwhelming strength to win quickly. If we cannot win in the first attack, we typically lose. Julia, always the diplomat, saw an opportunity. Perhaps we can teach each other. You have technology and knowledge of the galaxy that we need. We have ways of thinking that could help you. The ambassador's skin changed color slightly, showing what might have been relief. Yes, we propose a cultural and knowledge exchange program. Viridian scientists and strategists would study human thinking, while humans would gain access to our technological database. Admiral Peters raised an eyebrow. Just to be clear, you're not classifying us as a lesser species anymore? No, the ambassador said firmly. We are classifying you as potentially the most dangerous species we have ever encountered. Captain Martinez couldn't help but smile. Dangerous? Even though we're physically weaker? Especially because you are physically weaker, replied the ambassador. Species that evolve with natural advantages often fail to develop beyond them. Your weakness forced you to become smart, creative, and ruthlessly effective. You turned your entire planet into your weapon. The hologram showed humans using tools, creating fire, building machines, and eventually spacecraft. A Viridian without weapons is almost helpless, the ambassador continued. A human without weapons turned sticks and stones into weapons. You see tools and possibilities where we see nothing useful. The meeting continued for hours as they worked out the details of Earth's new relationship with the Concordate. By the end, a formal treaty was ready to be signed. Back on Earth, the news spread quickly. Humanity would join the galactic community as equals, not as a primitive species to be controlled. There would be no war, no invasion, only cooperation and trade. 1 month later, at the formal treaty signing ceremony, Ambassador Zuckatal addressed the United Nations General Assembly. We have existed for thousands of years believing our physical strength made us superior, he said to the pact, room in the billions watching worldwide. Humans have taught us that true evolutionary success comes from adaptability, innovation, and never giving up, qualities your species has in great amounts. After the ceremony, Captain Olivia Martinez learned she had been chosen as humanity's first permanent representative to the Concordate fleet. She would travel to other worlds, meeting new species and representing Earth's interests. On her last night before leaving Earth, she had dinner with Daniel Wright, her communications officer from the Orion. It's funny, she said as they watched the stars come out. They challenged us because they thought we were weak. Daniel smiled. And now? Now they're worried about what will happen when a species of highly adaptable, tool-using predators with unlimited curiosity starts exploring the galaxy. Olivia raised her glass. To humanity, the universe has no idea what's coming. Over the next year, many concordate species asked for human teachers to help them understand adaptive thinking and creative problem-solving. The Viridians, who had once looked down on humans, became their most eager students. The alien race that had come to judge humanity had instead found themselves learning from the very creatures they had underestimated. The greatest lesson they learned was written into the Concordate records, a new rule attributed to Ambassador Zuckatal. Never judge a species by how they look or how strong they are. Judge them by how they survived their history. Those who have faced extinction and won carry inside them abilities beyond measure. Humanity had been challenged and found wanting. Instead, they had shown themselves to be the apex predators of a death world, adaptable, persistent, creative, and ultimately unstoppable. As Captain Martinez's ship prepared to jump to its first destination beyond our solar system, she looked back at the blue-green world that had shaped her species. "They thought we were prey," she whispered. "They never considered that on Earth. Even the prey are dangerous. The galaxy would never be the same again."